Hi, I'm Mark Mays, and well, first off, I'm a mechanic. Been a mechanic for over 40 years, and I do a lot of fabricating, and I have a little hobby lathe and a milling machine that I use to fabricate stuff on occasionally and help other people out with making stuff and fabricating them. But one day, I use a lot of R2s in my line of work. I always have, and all my friends that work with cars and stuff do the same thing. So one day I was out here and I needed to get my R2s out of the floor, so I said I need some way to hang them up. So I went to the internet and looked around, and they sold these little things, and they was real expensive. So I said, well, you know, let me try making me one, and I could, you know, save me a little money. So I came up with this little piece of aluminum and cut it out, and then I took and hung my I mounted it on the shelf up here, and then I hung my R2s on like this. Well, every time I get another R2 off of it, it would knock one of them off, and they just fall off. So after a couple of years of that, banging around and stuff, it just got old and frustrated. So I went back to the internet one day and got to looking, and they still have these on the internet, but they've redesigned them, but they're real expensive, and they still don't work no better than they did. So I just set that aside for now, and one day I was out here working with some conduit, and I came up with this idea here of why couldn't we just take and drill a hole in some conduit and then put it in the milling machine and try to fabricate something that would hold the R2 a little better. So I came up with this idea, and this is the little prototype I made. This is what I came up with, and it seemed to be a real good improvement for my R2s, and I can make as many as I want to, and as long as I need them, or as short as I need them. I can hang 2 to 6 to 8, ever how many I want to hang up. And what's so great about this little product is you can put them on a magnet, like this little magnet that you buy at a Home Depot store or Lowe's. You can just hang it up and take your R2 and just hang it up. And they hold a lot of weight. They're real durable. And you can also mount them vertical, and I'll put one up and show you how it works. Space, and they still work just as good as they do anywhere else. And you can see the weight factor there. And you can just put them under a table, mount them to a leg on the table, and swing them around out of the way. Put them in any position you need, and they won't come off. If you shut the door or open it, they ain't going anywhere. They just hang right where you put them. And that is the best way I found to store R2s. I did come up with a little idea about a lock system that you can put in here and kind of lock the tool in place if you needed to, like on a panel. If you use a business in a panel truck and have a lot of R2s and it done a lot of swinging around, you could actually lock them in the holder and they wouldn't come out. So that's another little idea for a lock system. These holders are real economical to make, and they should be real economical for the consumer to purchase. And you can get them in all different sizes if you need them. And you could even hang big truck R2s on them if you needed to, like in a big truck shop. So there's endless possibilities of using them in the work environment. I work for a major car rental place, we have 14 bays with tables, and if these was mounted to the tables, we could have the air tubes hanging under the table and get them out of the floor and keep them off the tables so they wouldn't get knocked in the floor. All your air tubes that you got laying around in the floor, up under a shelf on a workbench, or in a toolbox drawer, which is real typical of all the fellows I work with, toolboxes, they are crammed full of air tubes. And here's an example, right here. This is one example of what air tube drawers look like, where people got air tubes and they just know where to store them. And when you do try to store them somewhere, they fall off a shelf or off a table, and they just cumbersome to keep up with, and there's really nothing out here to help organize them. So I came up with this idea, and you can just hang them up and put them right where you need them. And you can empty your drawer out and have a whole drawer for all kind of other projects in your shop, instead of using the drawer to keep all these air tubes in. You can just hang them up and keep them all organized and right at your fingertips when you need them, and you'll have them at your fingertips. And you can put them under a table, you know, on a shelf, on the side of a toolbox, under a toolbox, if you got the room, you know. So it really comes in handy to clean your air tubes up, and makes them so much handier to just grab one and go with it. That's all you have to do, just grab it and go. And then when you're done, you hang it up. Or if you look up and you're missing one, you know, well, I left my air tool out, you know. So you know you got one missing. So that's why I came up with this idea.